So a couple of months ago, I did a presentation on stage that did $1.6 million in sales in under 90 minutes. And in today's video, I'm going to break down exactly how I did it and how you can get a little piece of the action. I'm of course not guaranteeing that you're going to do 1.6 million in sales, but what I can guarantee is I'm going to share with you some insanely powerful marketing and sales strategies that no matter what stage you're at right now watching this video, it will help you. It will help you to convert more prospects into clients and sell more of your products and services. And we're going to do something different in today's video than I normally do. We're going to keep this real casual. We're going to keep editing to a minimum. I've got some notes out in front of me and I want to walk you through exactly how I did this. There are 3 stages to this. And again, no matter what stage you're at in your business, you're going to be able to apply these. The first is the preparation. You already know that the 1.6 million was not generated within that 90 minutes. It took me 90 minutes to deliver the presentation. It took me 90 minutes to present the offer, but there would have been a whole bunch of preparation leading up to that, and you'd be correct. So I'm going to break that down for you. There was also some content, some very specific content that led up to me making that offer in that 90-minute session, and I'm going to share that with you as well. And then, of course, there's the actual offer itself. Like, what was the offer? How is it structured? And then that's critically important as well. So I'm going to break down all 3 of these. So I suggest you sit back, grab a cuppa, get something to take some notes with, because again, this is going to be unscripted, and I'm just going to endeavor to give you as much value as I possibly can in today's video. So let's start with the preparation. Okay, this was an offer that I made at my annual conference that I run in London. It's called AdCon. And at this year, we had about 600 people in the room. We were actually going for 1,000 people. We didn't quite get that. Marketing was really hard for it, actually. And so we will go for that again next year. And hopefully you'll be a part of that. We'd love to have you at one of these events. And that's a whole story for another time as to the struggles to promote an event like this. But when the dust settled, we had about 600 people there in the room. And I don't know whether you've experienced this in your business right now, but marketing's harder online, and sales are down. It's like, I've talked about this in other videos, but trust is at an all-time low across all of our industries right now. Like, people spending money on courses and coaching and services and agencies, just trust is at an all-time low. But skepticism is at an all-time high. And so we've got this massive gap in the middle where for someone to make a buying decision just seems harder now than it's ever been, and just takes a bit longer. And so when I look at the result we got at AdCon here, 1.6 million from a room of 600 people, that really taught me something. And the first thing it taught me is that, firstly, the preparation that we put in place actually worked. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. But it also showed me that you can still achieve these crazy high conversion rates, and you can find incredible clients that will buy into you and your offer and what it is that you have. But you've just got to make sure that it's in the right environment at the right time in the right way. And there was something about, you may not be in a position to do this, and that's fine. There's something about being in the room, like putting on an in-person event, here in London. They actually come, they get to rub shoulders with me and my team and other attendees. And it just feels very real at that point. And I do think that helps conversions in a world where the online space is just, there's lots of unknowns, there's lots of charlatans, there's lots of scams that go on. So even if you can't do an in-person event, just maybe try to bring some of that flavor to whatever online conversion experience you're presenting for people. So it was just, I guess, a side point that I wanted to make. When it comes to the preparation for an offer like this, there's 2 things that we need to lay a foundation for. The first is trust, and the second is relationship. You've got to make sure that your potential clients, your prospects, they actually feel like they can trust you. If they don't feel like they can trust you, and I know this feels like I'm sharing obvious things right now. Like this isn't necessarily new information. You've got to get the know, like, and trust. We've been talking about this for years, but that trust piece is really key, because we're at a time right now in marketing and sales where people just will not invest in someone that they don't trust, for obvious reasons, and you probably experience the same thing. So we've got to build that trust, and there's ways in which we do it, but that's the first thing. Second thing is the relationship. Trust is great, but you can trust someone without actually liking them. You with me? Like you could learn that someone is factually correct, and so when they say something, you trust that what they say is true. but you may not like them, you know? And so then you wouldn't want to form a relationship with them. You wouldn't go and hang out with them. So we want to get that piece as well. And we want to build some relationship. And what I've found is a really good way of doing that is, firstly, providing as much value as you possibly can up front. And secondly, and this is key, and I think people get this bit wrong, or perhaps, you know, they lose their way a little bit. The second thing is just being yourself, like truly realizing that the way in which you do things, the way you do life, that your quirks, your personality, that your character, your hobbies, the way you communicate, your tone of voice, all these things make you uniquely you. And what you'll find is that relationship piece that we need to gain, people will connect with you when they realize that, firstly, they get to see the true you. They're not just seeing the Instagram version of you, but they actually get the true you. Like that's really, really important. But they also begin to quite be able to resonate with you. You know, some of those quirks that you do, the way you say a certain thing, the way you laugh at your own joke, or whatever the stupid thing is. That builds this bond, you know. And when I said people go off track and they get this piece wrong, it's because they try to be like someone else. You know, they look at the gurus in the space, or the current big name influencers in their industry. They just think, right, to be successful, I have to do exactly what that person is. And they find they go a few months down the line trying to produce content and sound and look like this person they're modeling, and they're actually being unauthentic. And that's the very reason why they're not getting the result or seeing the success. You would actually have a much better chance at just being yourself and then seeing the result. So then let's come back to the first piece, providing as much value as possible. You know, we're at a time where, because trust is low and skepticism is high, to just go straight for the sale is asking someone to marry you on the first date. It's just simply not going to work. And so we have to get someone to come into our world, come into our ecosystem, if you want to call it that, and realize that what you have, even your free stuff or super low ticket stuff, is really valuable. And again, we're able to achieve those two things, trust and relationship, by doing those two things, being yourself and providing as much value as possible. And then now we get that result. A couple of extra things that you can do, I guess bonus things, they're not critical, but we did them in this scenario. One is creating a sense of community, you know, and the second thing is experience, allowing someone to really feel like they're caught up in some kind of experience. And if you do that, it just further builds the trust and the relationship and all these good things. And so that's what we did for AdCon. You know, you got to picture this. We're running a 3-day marketing conference where people are flying in from all over the world to come into this one room to be together. We've got loud music, crazy stage. You know, you've got what do you call it? Dry sparks shooting up on the stage. We've got all sorts of cool stuff, you know, going on. It's like really feeling like an incredible experience. We've got some really good speakers up on the stage as well. You know, you can see some of them flashing up right now. I mean, just like really high profile, incredible speakers. So we really gave people an experience that they'll never forget. And then the community element was activated too, where they're able to, you know, connect with each other. And I guess I want to mention at this point, you might see all of that and think, all right, I'm going to click away from this video now then, because the only way that you did 1.6 million is because you did all of that stuff, and I don't have that budget, or I can't do that. And so this is irrelevant for me. No, actually, this is more relevant than you realize. Because if right now you're struggling to find even your first client, then you can try to implement the stuff I'm talking about and bring it down to your level, but do a little bit of it, create some kind of experience, and you'll probably increase your chances of getting that first client. Whereas if you just disregard this video now and move back to where you were before, watching cat videos and prank videos, then you're going to continue getting the same result, you know? So you're either going to go back to what you were doing, and it's guaranteed to be the same, or maybe take a little bit from this talk today and this video and start to implement it. All right. So that's preparation. Second thing is the pre-offer content. And before I get into this, if you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I'm limited by how deep I can go, you know, right now here on YouTube. I'm doing an incredible extended live training that you can find at wintheclients.com. So if you want to know, like, go real deep on this, like, how do we construct offers? How do we decide who our avatar is? How do we position the right offer to the right person in the right way? But then how do we turn on traffic? How do we build the right funnels? How do we do the sales piece? How do we build the operation around it? I'm going to be covering all of that and sharing all of my secrets at this event. It's incredible, and I really hope you can join us. All the details are at that page. It's wintheclients.com. There's a link in the description box. So let's get back to the second piece, the pre-offer content, okay? You might be wondering, what does this even mean, pre-offer content? When you're about to make an offer to an audience of people, and I don't care whether it's 600 people live at a conference or 4 people on a Zoom call, right? It doesn't really matter. The way in which you lead up to making the offer is critical. You could have a fantastic offer and you could be putting it in front of the right people. But if everything you did leading up to making that offer was positioned wrong, was complicated, was difficult to wrap their head around, was overwhelming, like this, I could say a bunch of other buzzwords, but if you do this wrong, then they won't be in a position, they won't be in the headspace to say yes to the offer. So the preparation is important, and then the content leading up to it is just as important as the actual offer itself. And so we could really boil this down into 3 things. 3 content things that you want to do before making an offer. The first is you want to have what's called positioning content. We'll get back to that. Second is you want to be teaching a complete framework, start to finish. And the third is what we call a demonstration of power. So let's circle back on this. Positioning content. Whatever the offer is that you're going to be selling today, whether it's a coaching, a course, a consultancy package, some kind of service, your agency, or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you're offering, you want to make sure that you've positioned it in the content. Positioned in the sense that some of the stories that you're telling in the content, some of the things that you're teaching and the ways in which you're teaching it points to the need for this type of offer. For example, if I'm selling coaching, then in the content leading up to it, as valuable as it is, I'm going to be positioning and seeding and peppering that presentation with the need for a coach. Maybe I'm going to share stories of how I invested in coaching and how courses weren't enough and how I had a bad experience with someone doing it for me. And what really changed it for me was finding a coach. That's going to be in the content there somewhere so that their subconscious is picking that up, so that when I make an offer for coaching, it magically feels like the answer they were looking for. But it's because I taught them to think that way during the content. Now, you've got to get the balance right here, because we want to seed these things, but you also don't want it to just be a really weak, flat presentation that has no value and is quite simply framing them for the sale. So there's got to be true value in there, and that's I guess a training for another time. Like there's a lot of nuances to get that right. But something else that's really important that you know is we're positioning the thing, but we also want to position them, the people that are about to hear your offer. So what you want to avoid is content right before the offer. You want to avoid content that is like real deep work, like where you're breaking down something that's really complex because you think if I wow them with value, then the law of reciprocity will kick in and they'll buy something from me. And oftentimes it's actually the opposite that happens. What will happen is you'll overwhelm them. They will be like, their brain will be going a mile a minute. And the last thing they're going to be doing is thinking about making a buying decision, because right now they're feeling a little bit frazzled and overwhelmed. So we're positioning the thing, and we're also positioning them ready to buy something. We want them in a state that is calm, excited, and clear-headed, which leads to the second thing, actually, which is, teaching a complete framework. When I made this offer at my AdCon conference, it was for a coaching program that I have called Momentum. And it's for coaches and experts and service providers that sell specifically high-ticket stuff. And we teach the whole shebang. It's all the way from what I call getting your house in order, having the right offer, the right positioning, the right operations set up, team building things if it's needed. And then we move to traffic, then we move to the conversion vehicle, as I call it, then we move to sales, and we move to what's called the nurture, to step 5. How do we nurture leads that we've got to then further convert more of them and win more business? It's the 5-step framework that I'll break down at wintheclients.com. It's the exact same model. But my coaching program goes deep on it, and we work with people on it, right? So if that's the offer that I'm making and did make, the way in which, or at least one of the big reasons why I did the 1.6 in that 90-minute presentation, is because the content that led up to it taught the 5-step momentum framework. So I'm teaching this framework, which is positioning the offer, but I'm also teaching it in a way that's exciting but not overwhelming. And by the time then I position the offer, guess what? They look back on the presentation we just went through and they go, whoa, That felt like a complete framework. There's nothing missing. There's no gaps in it. It feels exciting. I think I could probably do that. I need a coach to help me implement, right? Whereas if I didn't break down an entire framework, then when I get to the offer, they might go, okay, that offer sounds good, but there's elements of it I don't understand. And if I don't understand it, then I'm going to struggle to invest in it, right? So if I've already taught every piece of it, but in a way that's not, overwhelming, then when we get to the offer, they go, okay, I get it. Like I fully understand that offer. So it actually helps me when I'm offering to have already taught the framework. And then the third thing is a demonstration of power. And a demonstration of power is where somewhere in the content leading up to the offer, you're demonstrating that you know exactly what you're doing. There'll be a moment where you might do some Q&A with the audience, and the answers that you're giving are high quality, and people are realizing, okay, even on the fly, unprompted and unscripted, they really know what they're talking about. It might be that on stage in your slide deck, you're doing some kind of case study, or giving some examples, and in some way demonstrating the thing that you do as opposed to just teaching it. So that's the pre-offer content. And then we've got the offer itself. And there's a few things that we should talk about here. Firstly, you want to speak to the 4 primary personalities that are in the room. And we're doing this in the content, but we're mainly focusing on the way in which we make an offer touches on these 4. And the easy way to remember is a deck of cards. You've got spades, clubs, hearts, and diamonds. And your audience, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what you sell, your audience fall into one of these 4. They're either a spade, and a spade is someone who's the go-getter, the action taker. They want big results. They don't care about all this other stuff. They just want to go, get massive results, okay? Those are the spades. Then you've got the clubs, far more logical, analytical. They think things through. They don't rush decisions. They want to have all the information in front of them. And then you've got the hearts. These are the people that just want to feel a part of something. They want to, be in the community, loving on people and feeling loved on and getting recognition and status and all this kind of stuff. They're the hearts. And you've got the diamonds. They just want to have fun. They want to have a good time. They're there for the entertainment. They're there for the get-togethers and all this type of stuff. So you've got these 4 different personalities. So when I'm making an offer, I want to make sure that my offer is speaking to each of them in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to have parts of the way in which I'm making the offer that speaks to the spades. We're going to go fast. We're going to get some big results, and it's all really exciting. Then I'm going to break down the offer in a very easy to understand, logical way for the clubs. Then we're going to talk about the fact that there's community elements in the offer, and you're going to be able to rub shoulders with other people, and we've got get-togethers and all this sort of stuff. Satisfies the hearts. And then we're going to talk about the fact that there are, moments of when we're getting together, we're having fun together, we're connecting, there's recognition, there's challenges, there's leaderboards, and that satisfies the diamonds. So the game plan is to try to speak to them all. Now, if you're hearing that thinking, John, I don't have community or experiences in my offer, so am I not going to convert as highly? Understand that this is like prime time. If you can get all 4, you're just going to absolutely crush it. But you can get great results even only really touching on 1 or 2. And this is what most people do, by the way. You might have been stuck in this little moment for quite some time, as I was. I'm actually more like a club. And so for years, I used to sell to people in the way that I wanted to be sold to. And it took me a long time to realize that I'm only selling to 25% of the audience. But I still made millions and millions and millions of dollars over the years. And I sold loads of different things and had a great career before I even learned this. Then I added in these other things, and it only amplified my results. So just keep that in mind. So that's who I'm speaking to. Now, how am I structuring the offer? Well, I do things in a bit of a unique way. A lot of people will make the offer, maybe add some bonuses, talk about a bunch of other things, and then the price is the very last thing. It's called marinading the price. It's price marinade. You put the price right at the end. Once you've built all the value, you've marinated the price, and then boom, here's what you're paying today, right at the very end. I don't like doing that. I think there's a better way. And I've been doing it like this for quite some time. I think this will be a massive takeaway for you, and you're going to want to write this down if you're taking notes. I like to do my initial offer. So I want to have some of the elements of the offer that I do position. And you can do this on a webinar, you can do this on a Zoom, you can do this in person, or you can do it at a conference. It doesn't matter where you're doing this. The structure is the same. Position just enough that it feels worth the investment by itself. There's more we're going to add. We've got bonuses and other stuff, but we want to make sure that the first part that we position, the first few elements is valuable enough. And then second thing, I reveal the price. I've got more to come, but I reveal the price at that point. Why? Because I want them to not just marinate on a fake made up price. I want them to actually hear the price they're about to pay. And I want them to see that the stuff I've already mentioned is worth it just in and of itself. And now I move to the third step, which is adding the bonuses. And now every bonus I add feels like a legitimate bonus, because oftentimes they don't feel legit because you've lumped them together, right? If you do the main offer and then the bonuses and then the price, and it all just gets lumped together. Whereas there's something amazing that happens when we take the price and we put it in the middle. Now they're thinking about, should I buy, shouldn't I buy? It sounds good. And then every bonus is just stacking the value, and they just feel more and more compelled to join. So I save some of the juiciest parts of the offer until after I've already revealed the price, so that sometimes, here's the magic, and this is a writer downer, you want your bonuses to be so good that they want to join just for the bonus, right? If you can come up with some bonuses like that, it's absolute magic, okay? So then there's one extra step, one final thing that I do. In fact, actually there's a bonus one. I'll get to that as well. The final step that I do is then I have fast action bonuses. So I do the offer, it already feels good enough. I reveal the price, now they're allowed to buy. I add the bonuses, it's just stacking the value. Then I might do a bit of a ramble on, why they should make a change and how they can take action and all this other stuff. And then it's now, if you make a decision to join right here, right now, I've got some incredible fast action bonuses. And again, you just take a couple of other elements from the offer and position it as fast action bonuses. And again, now you've got the people that are still slightly on the fence. They hear that and they just think, gosh, this is just getting so good. The offer's getting so big. I've got to take it. So we have initial offer, price, bonuses, fast action bonuses. The extra bonus tip is that then you might want to have a little bit of risk reversal at the end, right? So that once we've made that offer, it sounds great, but you've got some people that are just feeling a little bit fearful. They've been burnt before, and you want to take the risk off their shoulders. And so maybe you have some kind of money back guarantee or performance-based guarantee, or some other way of positioning a risk reversal, so that you can basically say, try it out. If it's not what I said it was, then we will insert whatever the benefit is, give you your money back, double your investment back, cancel the rest of your payments, or whatever the case may be. So that's how I structured the offer. And those three things together, the prep, the content, and the offer, that's what did the 1.6. I'm going to break all of this down in excruciating detail at wintheclients.com. I really hope that you can make that training. You will absolutely love it. And I really hope that you found today's video helpful as well. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out videos like this all the time. I enjoy making this content. And let me know in the comments box if this has been helpful and what you'd like more videos on. And I read every single comment, and it helps me with decisions on content moving forward. So hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in a future one.